Hey, how's it going? Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Yeah, no worries.
All
How you
right.
been?
I'm good. I really appreciate
Good.
this. We'll get right into it because I know you're a busy guy. You got a lot going on today. So you're coming to Bangor. It's gonna be the first time in over a decade. Why'd you decide Bangor this time around?
Well, because it's been over a decade since we've been there. That's what happens. We look at the map and we say, where haven't we been? And places really stand out, that we haven't been in a long time. And so it's important to make the rounds. When I was first starting out, we were on the road all the time and we were trying to make our tour route bigger and bigger every year. And unfortunately, it became a global sized tour route and made it harder and harder to get back places. But I'm happy that we finally are. I've got a great show with a phenomenal cast of musicians. We're playing a new album that we love, and hopefully audiences join us and are into it.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad you brought up both of those things. First, I want to touch on, the global scale of your operation. Obviously, you've toured all over the world. How does that affect what you're bringing to Bangor?
Well, I'm not going to think about Romania or Antarctica while in Bangor. I mean, these are places I have toured. The thing that's great about touring is you get to be a professional tourist. And so I get to celebrate all the places, not that I've been, but that I'm in.
Mhm.
So for us, it's exciting to be back in Maine and connect with audiences that might be, it's been a long time since we've seen them or brand new. You never really know who's going to show up, but no matter what, when people show up, they're giving us their greatest wealth. They're giving us their time and attention, and I don't take that for granted. And so we try to use our superpowers for good and play a present show that's hopefully transformative and really makes you appreciate being there and appreciates your own life, appreciates your own life. So after the concert, you feel inspired to go and just create and send messages of love to your family or in your art or in your work. So I don't take what we do for granted. Yes, concerts are just playing. We're playing music. We're just being childlike. But I think there's something deeper going on which can be explored.
What's that deeper aspect?
It's a communion. It's a connection to something divine. It's where do our ideas come from? What frequencies are all around us that our radios in our mind are tuning into? And so as in a concert setting, we can all collectively tune into the same frequencies and play with the moment. And anytime you're playing with the moment and creating something new, that's a very powerful place to be, because you don't know what's going to happen next. But what's nice about music is music has patterns and music can resolve and music feels inevitable when it's finally said or sung or spoken. And it's a really, dare I say, spiritual experience.
What is the set list gonna be looking like? Are we gonna be playing stuff from We Sing? Is it gonna be Love Is? Is it gonna be from your latest album?
Yeah, it's a lot of songs from the latest album. Songs from We Sing have been around since We Sing. We're also celebrating the 10th anniversary of the Yes album, which came out in 2014. My collaborators on that album also helped me create the newest album, Mystical, Magical, Rhythmical, Radical Ride. And so between those two albums and We Sing, there's a real symbiosis between the musicians, the players, the sound, the stories. And so we're kind of weaving all of that together. But still, there's favorites from Love is a Four-Letter Word, like I Won't Give Up and 93 Million Miles. I feel so lucky that my former self worked so hard to create this catalog of work because when I go out to play and look at my song bank, there's too many songs to choose from. And so I pick the songs that I resonate with today and that I think are going to serve a purpose on stage today.
That's excellent. I mean, you bring up that amazing catalog you have. You've your first studio produced album that was back in 2002, I believe, correct?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What keeps you creative with that catalog? How do you keep thinking up new things? How are you changing your style over these past couple of decades?
Well, I've always been drawn to new things. I've always been drawn to that creative process that watching a blank page be filled with ideas and scribbles and notes until it becomes this memory. It becomes this thing that can live outside of me, and it's a way I can analyze my own life. It's a way I can savor a moment, remember something, remember wisdom I may have gained, and then save it in this little time capsule of a song, and then repeat that process, because every day is different, every week is different. As we go through life, we're always unfolding and learning new things and feeling new things. So I find that the songwriting practice is very cathartic and very rewarding. So that's always been my main practice, and that hasn't changed. And I think because of that, I'll always have songs to share and always have albums to share. Whether there's going to be an audience for them or not, I get to create music, and that feels pretty good.
What is that songwriting process like for you? Is it, I'm going to sit down with a pen and pad and just work through it? Or is it a spur of the moment? Hey, I've got this idea. Let's jot it down before I forget it.
Yeah, all of the above. It's
Yeah.
great if you can get an idea in your sleep or while you're driving or just in the moment, like it comes to you. And then it's important to write that down because you probably won't remember it later. And then I also do have a practice of sitting down with an instrument or a pen and paper, and I just start writing ideas. If that's not it, I turn the page, I write another idea. If that's not it, I turn the page. And eventually I land on something that I get excited about and I want to explore that deeper. And then I just mess around with different instruments. I love changing the instrumentation all the time. I'll write on ukulele. Last night I was writing. The night before that, it's piano. I want to keep changing it up because I think that accesses different parts of your heart and your feelings when you explore different mediums to create.
Speaking of exploring different mediums, I know you went to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy. You went for musical theater. Um, what's the crossover between that and what you do now? You talk about exploring different mediums. You were just on Dancing with the Stars not too long ago. Yeah, are different arts, how do they influence your work now?
I feel like what I do when I'm headlining a show is I can pull from all of those experiences. Even though I'm writing pop songs, modern day musicals are pop songs. And so I feel like I've just written my own musical. And then I can change the narrative every night through the stories I tell or the way I weave the songs together, which is very freeing and very satisfying. Um, and now, hopefully, with some dance experience, I can wiggle a little more with confidence on stage. And, when I was in musical theater, I did love it. But the thing that always stopped me was I was going to have to audition to perform somebody else's material. So it was very competitive. Whereas as a singer songwriter, there is no competition. You just do you. And that's it. And it's it's pretty great. Um, it doesn't always work. It's people don't always win the game, but to me, success is, the reward of writing the song and the reward of being inside that creative practice. That's really where the success is.
And speaking of that rewarding practice and, working through your art, obviously you've got so many hits. Is there a point with any of those songs where you're like, oh, I know this one's going to be good. I know that people are going to like this, or is it always a surprise?
Always a surprise. Yep, always. I've never predicted the hit songs, and anytime I thought, "Oh, this is good, that people are going to get this," nobody cares. So, I don't have it figured out.
With those songs where you're going, this is good, what are the songs in your discography where you're like, oh, I'm so proud of this work. It really created something special to me. What's like a top five for you?
Wow. Well, in 2020, actually, I released actually on today, on June 19th in 2020, I released an album called Look for the Good, and all the proceeds went to various organizations supporting the advancement of equality. But the core of the music was um, um, just trying to move love downfield, just trying to remember that we are all one, very much inspired by the movement that Bob Marley created within his music. And so Look for the Good, this album from 4 years ago was a reggae based album And I thought, oh yeah, for sure, people are going to be dancing to this. We're going to be, you know, um, I don't know. We were just going to light up the world with our reggae. And unfortunately, COVID happened, and there was, the social climate in the United States was very intense at that time. So it really wasn't a time to celebrate new music so much as it was to really celebrate causes and people.
Mhm. Getting back to Bangor, you're going to be stopping in Portland and Bangor, Maine. Is there anything in Maine that you're excited for? Are you even going to have time to just sit back and relax and enjoy a couple things?
Yeah, I think so. One of my dear friends moved her family out to Portland, and so while in Bangor and on the way, I'm going to get a chance to hang with them and see their garden and eat some of the local foods. And when I was about 19, I also visited a little town just outside of Portland called West Sumner, Maine, where I got to hang with some retired art teachers who maintained their youth in their old age, and they were a huge inspiration to me on who I would wanted to become. As I grew up, I didn't want to let go of my youth, my childlike wonder, and so I often think of those Mainers and credit them for who I became. Yeah, so
That's
I have
awesome.
special feelings about it.
Okay. Well, I see that we're getting close on time. So, once again, I just want to thank you. Is there anything else you want to talk about or discuss, or anything that we should know about the upcoming performance?
Oh, it's always fresh and fun, and I it's my job to leave you better than I found you. So think of our concert as a transformational experience, as a yoga class. It's going to be 90 minutes where I'm going to guide you from your head into your heart, and we're going to have a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jason.